Tonight. McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. Funny, insightful interviews from a washed-up producer with nothing to lose. McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. Here comes McKnight Tonight.
Welcome to McKnight Tonight. Here's Rob McKnight.
Hello and welcome to McKnight Tonight. I'm Rob McKnight, streaming from my garage on the Gold Coast for another edition of McKnight Tonight. It is Thursday, the 13th of the 8th, which means it's Tipsy Thursday. So you know what that means. Drink up, bottoms up. Amanda, cheers. That was quite a nice job, actually. We're going to play a game tonight. I want you to take a drink every time I talk about hypocrisy. But be careful, because I promise you, you could be drunk before the show is done. And apparently, it's also International Left-Handers Day. So a big shout out. Amanda and I are both left-handers. You'll see me writing with my left hand. So we get a day, Amanda. Shall we take the day off?
Yeah, you should have told me this earlier.
I know, but I'll tell you something. We're not taking the day off. I had a hair in my eye. We're not taking the day off because I put too much effort into this show. I should have realised later. Do you know what, though? Left-handers traditionally can't use right-handed scissors. Can you?
Not very well.
Right, I can. So I write with my left hand, but I'll cut scissors with my right, and I bat like I am a bat. But if I were to bat...
All right.
Now, if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you found us, congratulations. Welcome to the show. Don't leave yet. Stay with us. See what it's all about. But hit subscribe, smash the bell, and you can take part in the conversation. You'll get notified when we go live. Put a comment in. We do live comments throughout the show. So we love hearing your feedback, even if you don't agree with me. It's not an echo chamber. We love to have a discussion. But there's a lot to discuss. Let me tell you what's coming up. Tonight, the Prime Minister does a runner from the press when Melongate comes up again. A media advisor for Angus Taylor goes off at a Channel 10 reporter. Students hit the streets to protest Pauline Hanson. But why did a pro-Hanson supporter get cuffed by police when he did nothing wrong? A theft caught live on camera while a reporter is on air. Raygun gets her own documentary and I am not here for it. And brand new tonight, we're launching Rob's Pub Quiz, testing you on the news we've covered this week. It'll be a fun way to end the week. We've been trying to find a fun way to end the week, Amanda. This is it. We can have a couple of drinks like we're at the pub, and I've got the questions all prepared. They're multiple choice, and they're all based on things we've covered throughout the week.
Cool.
How many do you think
Very
you'll get
cool.
right? How much attention do you pay to the show?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We will see indeed.
Oh, dear.
All right, let's get into our hot topics for this Thursday. Anthony Albanese has essentially run from a press conference after being asked about Melongate. Not only that, but our Prime Minister had to be saved by New South Wales Premier Chris Minns when the press dared ask our Prime Minister about a potential diplomatic incident with the Prime Minister of Japan. Now, I know regular viewers of McKnight Tonight saw this clip from Bush Deep last night, but I think before we get into the clips I need to show you about today, we need to know what we're talking about. So before we get to today's press conference, here is the Melons moment the PM refuses to acknowledge was a joke about breasts.
What's the most crap gift you've ever received on an overseas jaunt?
Oh, gee. I'll tell you something I got recently here that was pretty strange but ended up being quite good.
Yeah.
Was a melon. The Japanese Prime Minister brought a melon here.
How did he get that through customs?
It's a royal melon.
Oh, she smuggled. It was a she.
She?
Did she smuggle it?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm expecting.
Got a couple of melons.
She brought two.
She brought two, as you do.
She just came in looking like Pamela Anderson.
She brought two.
Yes, really.
And they're beautiful.
Speaking of melons, I've got you a crap gift. Hang on.
Do you know the question that needs to be asked? Because the Prime Minister said at the beginning of that, she brought a melon. And then he started making the breast joke. She's got her melons. At the next question time, Angus Taylor should ask the Prime Minister, did the Japanese Prime Minister bring one melon or two? Because if the Prime Minister only brought one melon, then he shouldn't be saying she brought her melons. I think I've just solved how we can finally get to the truth of this.
Oh, gosh.
I've had an epiphany. Anyway, as I said last night, he should have just admitted he was trying to make a silly joke. And that is why this has become a much bigger issue than it needed to be. And today, while announcing a $2.5 billion rescue package for the Tomago shelter, he really didn't like it when journalists wanted to ask him questions about Melongate, which is the biggest political story of the day. This is what happened when a journo dared ask the question, where did this hand gesture to describe the Prime Minister, what exactly did you mean?
I've talked here today. Use my hands. Look, I've answered this question many times. The fact is that the Japanese Prime Minister and I have a very good relationship. The Japanese ambassadors made very clear statements, indeed, about how warm our dinner was, and it was indeed. It was fantastic.
Hey mate, go and ask 1,000 workers what they care about today. Honestly, this is the biggest announcement for this region in a generation. Exactly. Can we just talk about it for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
So a few things happened there. First, the PM is annoyed at the question. He doesn't want a bar of it. And this narrative that we have a great relationship with the Japanese, yeah, fine. But that's not the question. The question is, have you lied to us when you said you weren't making a breast joke? Again, I don't overly care, but I hate the lies. Then we have the New South Wales Premier Chris Minns jumping in, declaring the workers don't care about that issue and are more interested in the announcement being made. Well, that's all well and good, but you don't get to decide what the news cycle is. And when Minns cries, can we just talk about it for 5 minutes? That's very disingenuous. The press had listened to speeches by Meryl Swanson, the federal member for Patterson, Kate Washington, the New South Wales member for Port Stephens, Anthony Albanese, the Prime Minister, Chris Minns, the Premier of New South Wales, Marcus Faulkner, the AWU Senior Delegate at Tomago Aluminium, and Jerome Dozel, CEO of Tomago Aluminium. So I think by then we'd heard all the spin about this announcement. But then the first question was about the use of taxpayer money to prop up companies like Rio Tinto. The second question was about the projects. The third question was about the funding package. So by that point, I think the announcement had well and truly been covered. And from a journalist's point of view, you never know how long these press conferences are going to go. The PM can just say, that's it, we're done. So a journalist asked the Melongate question. Then Chris Minns said, can we talk about what we're here to talk about? Then 3 questions were asked about the announcement. The journos did the right thing. And then a question about drones, which was nothing to do with this topic, was asked. It was an obvious plan. Watch the Prime Minister when he looks at the reporter, hearing the question and go, oh, yeah, that's right. And you can see the moment he realises, oh, yeah, I forgot about this question, but I'm here for it. Have a look.
147 drones were found to breach RAF bases in the last financial year. Are you concerned considering we don't know who are controlling these drones, and do you think there should be an investigation by ASIO?
An obvious plan, an obvious setup. Okay, that's fine. So now that all of that's done and the off-topic one you wanted to get away with, what about, let's get to the other topic. Let's get to the point where people can ask about Melongate. Ah, but what did the Prime Minister do after he answered that drone question? He did a runner.
The area around the airport can operate safely because that is absolutely critical. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that is where we'll leave that media conference there.
Pathetic. So Chris Minns demands journalists wait to ask questions about other topics like Melongate. They do so, and then the Prime Minister, he does the old road runner before they can ask the question. It is cowardly. And if he believes he's done nothing wrong, why can't he just answer a simple question? Like this one from Opposition Leader Angus Taylor in Question Time today.
My question is to the Prime Minister. This morning the Prime Minister was asked, yet again, about his classless comments on the Bush Deep podcast. Yet again, he refused to give a straight answer. To save him from embarrassment, the New South Wales Premier stepped in and shut down the question. Why won't the Prime Minister man up, stop hiding behind his colleagues and take responsibility for his grubby behaviour?
Order. Members on my right, I want to hear the questions in silence. If there's any more interjections, if there's any more interjections, people will not be here to hear the answer. Give the call to the Prime Minister.
I thank the Leader of the Opposition for his question, and I direct him to the comments of the Ambassador of Japan, who stated very clearly the dinner hosted by Prime Minister Albanese during the Prime Minister's visit to Australia this May was held in a very relaxed atmosphere, and we believe it helped build a personal trust relationship between the two leaders. Indeed it did. We have a very good relationship with Japan, and I look forward to continuing to work with our friends on economic issues as well as interests of peace and security and prosperity in our region.
Did that sound like an answer to the question that was asked? No. And look, while that clip was on, I just did a quick Google. The Japanese Prime Minister did give Anthony Albanese 2 melons. So he's still got a bit of a get out of jail free. But let's be honest, when you're doing this, she brought her melons. If that's not a double entendre, then Benny Hill didn't exist. Oh, I don't know what I'm trying to say there. I'm trying to be clever. Didn't work. All right. Andrew Bolt made a very good point today. In an article saying the senior women of Labor don't fight for a principle, they fight for a side. Bolt made the point Foreign Minister Penny Wong, Housing Minister Claire O'Neill, Employment Minister Amanda Rishworth and the rest would be singing a very different tune if it had been Peter Dutton or Scott Morrison. You bet your life they would. Tanya Plibersek went off at Tony Abbott, who called Julia Gillard a liar. The hypocrisy is incredible. Have a drink, everybody. The hypocrisy on this is just incredible. Those Labor women, anytime we've had a ditch the witch or anything like that, they have jumped, calling out sexism and everything like that. If Peter Dutton had been there and said, the Japanese Prime Minister gave me a couple of melons, they would be all over it. And there they are defending it, saying that's not what the Prime Minister meant. What a load of BS. And look, while we're talking politics, there was a bit of an exchange between a media advisor for Angus Taylor and a Channel 10 reporter today. Have a look at this report from News 24.
Pressing the flesh at an aged care home in Canberra, the opposition leader is pressed himself over a corruption probe into Liberal Party donations.
I'm asking you specific questions.
Well, and I'm giving you a specific answer.
You're not giving me a specific
I'm giving the
answer.
same answer I've been giving all along. I'm not going to give a running commentary on this.
Has your wife made any payments?
As I said, no payments have been made. And
that question from a Channel 10 reporter drawing the ire of Angus Taylor's media director. And with cameras still rolling, he made it known.
Your rating's that bad? Seriously, that's a freaking disgrace.
What, asking questions about an IPAC?
Yeah, and he's answered them like 500
no, he has
times.
not asked
Seriously.
specific, he has not asked.
No wonder 10 plus got cut.
Now, the media are making such a big deal of this. They are going, oh, how outrageous. I mean, he didn't even swear. That is pretty lightweight to me. I have heard stories of prime ministers ringing up journalists and go, you effing babe, because they haven't liked a report. I mean, in the cut and thrust of politics, saying it's a frickin' disgrace, no wonder 10 News Plus got cut. I mean, come on, seriously. But of course, Labor didn't miss the opportunity to take a pot shot. Here's the next part of that report from News 24.
No wonder 10 plus got cut.
The ratings sledge coming at a time the coalition's polling hovers narrowly above record lows.
To turn around and turn on the reporter rather than answering those questions says it all.
You know what? Tony Sheldon is absolutely right. Turning on the media for asking questions really does say it all. I wonder if we have any other examples of politicians turning on the media when there's a question they don't like from today.
It was
Hey, mate, go and ask 1,000 workers what they care about today. Honestly, this is the biggest announcement for this region in a generation. Exactly. Can we just talk about it for 5 minutes?
Well, thanks very much.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ah, the hypocrisy is astonishing. Have a drink, everybody.
McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. Here comes McKnight Tonight.
Yes, I do have the McKnight Tonight t-shirt on. Bit of merch. I wore this when I got my hair cut today. I went down to the shops. I only wear the t-shirt when I go out anywhere. It's a good excuse. You can get your t-shirt just by going to mcknighttonight.redbubble.com. In fact, I think there's still a sale and prices will have to go up soon because we've only got a 10% margin on it. And I get like $2. So everybody needs to buy a bloody t-shirt. But the socks, honestly, the socks are the best. I don't have those socks on today, but they are, honestly, I would buy these socks without the McKnight Tonight branding. They are the best. I love them. Love them. In fact, I'm going to go and buy a few more pairs.
You do that. That's great. And then maybe you'll stop bringing it up on the show every time we advertise the merchandise.
Well, I tell the truth. If I didn't like them, you'd know about it too. All right, let's move on. Students have taken to the streets today to protest against Pauline Hanson and One Nation. Now, you might remember I spoke to two of the leaders on Monday. But have a look at what happened when a protester turned up supporting Hanson.
The protest here in Brisbane was interrupted. A man who is a supporter for Pauline Hanson and One Nation voiced his beliefs in a moment that was not well received.
Pauline Hanson's going to save Australia!
Now, that man was quickly removed from the protest area by police. He was put in handcuffs and spoken to by officers before being ordered to move on, which he did.
Yeah, we don't know why it's out of sync either. But what gets me about that is it didn't seem like he was doing anything outrageous. Pauline Hanson's going to save us. So why did the police put him in cuffs? So the Pauline Hanson protesters have a right to protest, but one man who just shouted something, he gets not arrested, but he gets detained. He had cuffs put on him, and then he was told to move along, which he did. He moved along. So there's a bit of hypocrisy here. Have a drink.
I won't be able to switch the show soon if we keep this up.
I tell you what, the hypocrisy is just amazing. Like, we're allowed to protest our belief, but one man isn't allowed to protest his. And then there's this in Melbourne. The protesters didn't just exercise their democratic right, they decided to steal television equipment. Watch what happened on News 24 while a reporter was live on air.
So as you can see, there's so many students out here protesting today. Similar sentiment to where Kaiser is.
This poor woman, look at her, Georgie Dickinson. She is literally being accosted. That microphone ripped out of her hand. Now, I don't know if that's a male or female, but that is a scary moment. What gives that person the right to do that? That person should be arrested. That is absolutely outrageous. And look, it's a note for Sky that they should have security with them. But this lady, she's amazing. Have a listen to how she got the microphone back.
We had to actually just chase that protester through the packed crowd. They actually put it inside a Coles bag and sprinted off with our microphone. Obviously, during the middle of a live cross, these protests had remained quite peaceful for the most part, but I did have to chase that protester across and onto the other side of the road, where eventually there was some security for another person who was out here filming today, that actually we managed to stop that young person and retrieve the microphone.
She should have done a citizen's arrest and taken them to police. It was all caught on camera. And, of course, they're so brave, aren't they, behind their masks? They're not doing it for COVID. They're doing it literally so they can hide their faces. Very big and tough. I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. Behind the mask. Behind the mask. Hello. Behind the mask. Give me a break. You can show your support for the show by buying me a coffee. Just go to buymeacoffee.com/McKnight Tonight. Every bit helps keep this show from our garage going.
Here comes McKnight Tonight.
All right, let me know your thoughts on all of tonight's topics by going to youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight. It's not far away until we get to your feedback, but maybe you'd like to say something about tonight's rant. Netflix has released a trailer for their documentary about Raygun. Take a look.
Right before the Olympics, I went to my therapist, panicked. She was like, what's the worst that could happen? The whole world could laugh at me. She's like, do you think that's reasonable? I was like, oh no. Raygun. There was this frenzy. It was this growing monster.
0 points.
How did this person go to the Olympics? I know I'm a dorky white woman who's an academic. And I'm a B-girl.
Did you ever associate Olympian and Rachel growing up?
Never. Sorry, not the right reaction, is it?
I was furious. She was not prepared.
She's vibing, baby.
She's a legend. Some of the memes were funny, then the tone started to change.
So Rachel Gunn cheated her way into the Olympics and then had her husband be a judge.
What? Boom, 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 boom. Ow! And it just kept getting more crazy.
What's going on?
I can't just be a meme. Am I Rachel? Or Raygun?
You're an embarrassment. I have no time for this woman. Cannot bear her. She took the world for a ride. She says, well, I went through the process. I was the best breakdancer in Australia. Well, then the process is flawed. Are you literally telling me there was no one better than the crap she served up at the Olympics? Now, I know a lot of people find it funny, and that's great. I think it was a national embarrassment. I don't see the funny side of it. People work their whole life to get to the Olympics. This woman comes along and she has an inside running into the selection process of breakdancing, which why was breakdancing a sport at the Olympics anyway? I know what's the term they use? It's a example sport. That's not the term. Someone will tell me. But I still can't believe she was allowed to do it. And I can't believe she defends herself saying, well, I was chosen. I was the best. Like, she believes she's the best breakdancer in Australia. I have no time for it. And Netflix called it a Netflix sports film. No, it's a comedy film. It's an abomination, whatever you want to call it. It's not a sports film. She's not a sports star. She's an embarrassment. Ran over. You know what? There is still plenty ahead. Good things on McKnight Tonight. Hey, we're going to have a bit of a discussion about housing and how there is less social housing. I grew up in Housing Commission and, you know, Housing Commission was for people to get a break. And so we're going to talk about what's going on and how a lack of social housing is helping fuel the housing crisis. That's coming up in just a moment. No back-end quickie tonight. Instead, we're having Rob's pub quiz. I'll have to get some graphics made if this works well tonight. Amanda only had the idea late this afternoon. And we thought it was a fun way to end the week. So we'll be doing that. And, of course, I'm getting to your feedback in just a moment. But first, it's time for a random live shot of the day.
It's the random live shot of the day. Where are you going today? You'll never know where you'll end up with the random live shot of the day.
Yes, it is our random live shot of the day. And tonight we're heading to Hawaii for a live view of Kilauea, the most active volcano in the state, and it's putting on quite a show for us. Now, this is episode 53 of the ongoing eruption at the summit. It kicked off yesterday afternoon, local time, from the North Vent, with lava fountains reaching 80 to 100 feet high. Now, this actually isn't live. We had to go back a little bit on the YouTube feed because the feed ended right before we came here. So Amanda's taken it back. So that's just gone back, I don't know, an hour or whatever, but it's been going like this non-stop. It's part of a run of episodic eruptions that's been going since December 2024. USGS has actually bumped the alert level up from advisory to watch and the aviation colour code from yellow to orange because of it. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? I mean, just the fact that that is spewing out, absolutely amazing. There's something that grabs me in about volcanoes. Every time I see one on YouTube, I think that'll be our random live shot of the day. All right, let's get to some of your feedback coming into McKnight Tonight. We've got this one from Aussie_AU. G'day, folks from Townsville. Have liked and subscribed and followed on X. Thank you, Aussie_AU. Appreciate that. Got this one from Kobe. Hi, Rob. You always do great episodes, and I'm keen for the pub quiz. Always get excited when I hear new stuff. Yes, well, you'll let us know if the pub quiz is a goer or a thrower once we get into that after our feature interview, which I'm really looking forward to. Zampa Kid says, I'm a left-hander here as well. Good to be part of the team. Good on you, Zampa Kid. Justine says, Bryson is a lefty as well. Happy Left-Handers Day, everyone who is a lefty. I feel like my rants tonight have been a bit on the right side of politics. You know, I always say I'm not left, I'm not right, I'm just McKnight. But I do feel I've been quite right tonight. Anyway, hey, look at this. $10 from Mick.au. Happy Lefties Club. Thank you, Mick. Always appreciate the kind donations people give us. And You're Crazy says, I've got to work tomorrow, so I'll nominate myself to be the designated driver. And he says, Rob's version of Have You Been Paying Attention? Could you imagine if Have You Been Paying Attention did it like Tipsy Thursday and they actually had a few drinks? Those comedians would be hilarious with a few drinks under them. Mum's got on the Facebook and she's saying, having a cup of tea for Tipsy Thursday. She's not having a Bacardi and Coke, but she likes. Daz says, Melongate, is it a beat-up? Yes, but imagine if Peter Dutton or Tony Abbott said it. Why are they protecting Albo when those people would attack Dutton and Abbott? This is my point. I actually don't have a problem with any of it. He was trying to be light and funny. None of that is a problem for me. The problem for me is the people that are complaining about it, or defending it, sorry, are the people that would be complaining about it if it was the other side of politics. And that's why I get up. I hate the hypocrisy. Jason says, can we stop talking about this? It's a non-issue. Let's move on. Fair enough, Jason. Leo says, I'm sick of all this crap about melons and what Albo's hands were doing. FFs. Yep, FFS. We all do that gesture. If it was Bob Hawke, it wouldn't be an issue. Some people just can't take a joke. Leo, the problem is, it was a joke. He just needs to own it. He just needs to say, I was just joking. That's my whole thing. I've said it yesterday. I'll say it again. And You're Crazy says, I want to know why public money is being used to bail out another mineral smelter. Yeah, well, that is a big issue. That is a big question. Sorry, Rob, but snooze. I don't think he liked the Melongate chat. Probably thought it went a bit long. Fair enough. Thanks for the feedback. James says, $1 from James. Thank you, James. Appreciate that. Good on you, mate. Andy says, I love my McKnight Tonight t-shirt. It's so comfy. It really is. It's good quality. It's good quality merch, mate. Get your socks, get your t-shirt, Redbubble, McKnightTonight.redbubble.com. There it is. Clintos says, can I get a couple of McKnight Tonight melons as part of the merch? Could we get McKnight Tonight melons?
We could get them engraved, I'm sure.
So many jokes that I'll get in trouble
Don't
for.
go there.
Jimmy says, can we just have 1 week without any protests? I don't think so, Jimmy. It's the world we live in now. Simon says, I don't understand why Raygun keeps getting airtime. I'm not a fan. I'm really not. Zampa Kid, she's just begging for attention. She won't let it go. I agree. Rico says, are they desperate for content or just cheap D-list people? Do you know what? In Netflix's defense, she was famous around the world. There is a discussion. Like, will I have a look? Probably. So, drink up because I'm the hypocrite now. So I just don't like the way that whole thing went down. Simon says, most of Australia agrees with you, Rob, about Raygun. Thank you very much. All right, keep your feedback coming. We will have more as the night progresses, and stick around for the pub quiz. But first, let's get to our feature interview.
McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. Here comes McKnight Tonight.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about the housing crisis lately, specifically mortgage stress and property prices. But there's a part of the housing system that barely gets a mention, and it's in serious trouble. One area that no one seems to be talking about is social housing. And my next guest says it needs urgent policy attention. Joining me to discuss the issue is Dr. Julie Lawson, Adjunct Professor at RMIT Centre for Urban Research and Director of Just Cities. Welcome to McKnight Tonight, Julie.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely fabulous to have you here. Julie, let's start with the scale of it. How far has social housing actually fallen behind this country, in this country?
Significantly. So if we look at the 1950s, in that period, we were actually producing about 20% of our new construction was actually in the public housing sphere. So that's declined very, very gradually, but then rapidly. And now it's only just 1%, or between 1 and 2%, to be precise, 1.8% of new construction. So as a share of what's being produced or supplied, it's really, really shrunk. But also as a share of the overall number of dwellings. So we're now down from, in the 1990s, 1995, we were around about 5.2% was what we would call public housing. And now it's down to around 3.9%. So despite 30 years of incremental efforts and short stop-start programs, we're really just leaking assets, and many are either sold or demolished, and certainly not kept in good repair. So our concern really is about the share of public housing in Australia and what we can do to change that to meet the need that's out there for sure for it.
What's led to the decrease in the percentage? You said it went down from 5.2 to 3.9%.
Well, there's a few things. One of them that's very, very important is the way in which we operate and manage public housing. So in the beginning, public housing rents, for example, covered the cost of operating and maintaining those dwellings, but also it was more public. It was more open to a broader range of households as well. So as we've decoupled the rents from the cost of providing them and maintaining them well, we've had to sort of eat into the stock, if you like, cannibalise it even. So that means demolishing it and redeveloping it for commercial developments, which means that the total stock is shrinking. But we've also made the allocation of public housing much more rationed. So the less public housing is, we're rationing now the ration. So that means that there's a lot of people with pretty complex needs in public housing, and therefore they need also support to live well, health with employment searches, with just daily living. Also, many people are older and in aged care and on very limited incomes as well. So we have concentrated disadvantage in public housing. So we've moved away from what was more universal, more public-based system to one where the operating model is failing to grow the stock and failing to maintain it even well, and also to expand to reflect the need that's there. So we've now got quite a backlog, around about 660,000 unit backlog for low and middle income households who are eligible but have no chance of having access to this housing. And that's a very different picture to other countries in the OECD. We should.
I'll ask you about that in a moment, but it's interesting. I grew up in Housing Commission, and in the late, Housing Commission as it was known then, and in the late 70s and 80s, it was working class families. They were using Housing Commission as a way of trying to get ahead and with the idea of eventually buying a house. That's exactly what my parents did. But there were also some mistakes made with Housing Commission. I grew up in Minto near Campbelltown in New South Wales, and it was a suburb of Housing Commission. And then when we had the recession we had to have, the level of income went down and the neighbourhood changed and it became more of a grotto. And the New South Wales government actually declared where I lived as a social experiment gone wrong, because they then decided to tear down all the Housing Commission and then sell off the land, and then like every fourth house put in Housing Commission or social housing. So in a situation like that, you've lost a whole suburb almost, or certainly clumps of a suburb of Housing Commission. So have we ever regained that back? It would seem not.
No, and in fact, it's being accelerated. So you have 40 towers in Melbourne, for example, which will be, which are proposed to be demolished and rebuilt at much denser scales, with only a very marginal increase in the number of public housing units to be produced on those sites. So that means that areas which were actually quite well located, quite close to public transport and opportunities in the community, those, if you like, key assets are being diluted. So in the past, there was also much more active role for state governments in acquiring sites ahead of need, in growing through the land banking and the land commissions, so that there were suitable sites to actually produce neighbourhoods. For example, the Garden City neighbourhood in Port Melbourne, which was all public housing. But I think you're touching on two things. One of them is also about the type of community and the breadth of the community. So you see, also by reducing the stock, we've also rationed the limited availability to the extremely high needs. And where that stock is concentrated, that also, of course, concentrates disadvantage as well. So you see in other countries a much broader based approach, where the range of people living there have also stronger shoulders, as well as those who need help. So that's what a natural neighbourhood can look like, where you have a range of people living there. So public
and those
housing
countries you're talking about are countries like Austria, Denmark, Finland. They're being built around what you call, I believe, a cost rental framework. How is what they're doing different or better than what we're doing?
Yeah, cost rental is kind of a European success story in a way. And many people might have heard about the sort of Vienna model, for example. And what's different there is that you're basically trying to grow the housing stock, but also serve a diverse community as well. And those who have very low incomes, they would receive assistance through income support, like a Commonwealth rent assistance or rent assistance. But we don't develop the whole neighbourhood around the operating frameworks of extremely low income tenants. We do it for the middle, and the very low receive rent assistance, but others live there too. And that means that those neighbourhoods thrive and they also grow. So as over time, as the debt is repaid from investing in those, the long-term loans, for example, are paid off, that also produces, grows surpluses, and that equity is reinvested in growing new stock. And they have rules around that which make sure that any kind of surplus is put into maintaining those dwellings well, but also growing them. So you see in Vienna alone, there's around 5,000 dwellings a year which are produced just in that city. Well, we're not even doing that as a nation at the moment. So it's looking at cost rental as
politicians to plan ahead and think of the future instead of just the next election cycle.
Yeah, and not just, one set of politicians. This really takes bipartisan or multi-party.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because housing is a life career. It's an asset that should be sustained well for generations. And that's why, well-maintained public housing is there for the future for people who need it as well. So we're concerned about the way in which we've been shifting towards short-term payment situations where we pay for housing poorer people. And we think this is not the way to go. This is what they call the availability payment approach to procurement. And we think that, as is shown in other countries, that it's better to grow the assets well and to maintain them well, rather than keep paying for services which we don't have any growth potential of or any ability to ensure that they're there. So, unfortunately, Australia has shifted towards, if you like, paying for services, and we spend about $9 billion in the rental space for public policy, and most of that goes towards supporting the private rental sector, and very, very little of that goes towards, if you like, dedicated, more mission-focused providers of housing who like the public housing sector or the community housing sector. So what we would like to see is a shift in that support towards growth-oriented and also purposeful providers of housing. So otherwise, we're just what we'd call, mopping with the tap running. We're just putting rent assistance into renting dwellings which we have no say over their quality or also who gets them, and also where they are. So other countries have shifted the balance towards supporting the capital growth of the supply of the housing that's purposeful, rather than just paying for it in the commercial market. Well, we see the worst case now in the UK, where London and other city governments are almost bankrupting themselves by paying temporary housing allowances to house poorer people, and we think that's not the way to go. It's better to have a really long-term vision and invest, with almost a 60, 70-year horizon, to invest, to pay off, to improve, and to grow. And that's how they work it in Austria, Finland, Denmark. Denmark is growing in this space, and it even has a revolving fund which makes a return to the government. So, you
don't get a return if you are giving money to private commercial enterprises. And I think Housing Commission, I still call it Housing Commission, but social housing done the right way can give families trying to build up themselves and, create generational change, of maybe getting their kids up a level in the wealth rankings, from working class to middle class. Housing Commission helps people do that. I grew up in a suburb full of working class people just trying to make a go of it, and I think those people are getting left behind. Julie Lawson, I really appreciate your insights in this. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot more. The politicians are talking about a housing crisis, but they're not thinking about from this point of view. I really appreciate your insights tonight on McKnight Tonight.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks so much. Okay.
McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. Here comes McKnight Tonight.
A lot of insight there. I could have gone another 20 minutes on that interview. There's so much we're doing wrong, and we've taken Housing Commission away, social housing away, but we're not replenishing. And where do we expect those people to go? And as Julie said, we're giving handouts to people for rental assistance when the government could actually be doing lower cost housing, getting people housed and eventually making money and then being able to use that money. But it's all short-term thinking. All right, let's end our Tipsy Thursday with a little bit of fun. I'm going to have a pub quiz. Now, this is all based on topics of the week, things that I have covered, and I'm just trying to find my list of questions. Please tell me I printed them out.
Good start.
Because I didn't have them on the order. There we go. I've got them. Fear not.
Was that question one?
Sorry.
Was that question one? Where are my questions?
Question one, where is the script? Okay, so the way we're going to do this is, you know what, there's no prizes, but put your answers in the chat. See if you can get it right, and we'll go through them. I was tossing up whether to do all the questions and then go and do all the answers, but that's sort of doubling up and taking a long time. The fun is just knowing if you got it. All right, question one. How many suppression orders were issued in Victoria last year? Was it A, 507, B, 477, or C, 388? How many suppression orders were issued in Victoria last year? 507, 477, 388. The answer is, speed it up. I was trying to be dramatic.
I've just seen there's a lot of questions, that's all.
I've got 10 questions.
Yeah, you need to speed it up.
Sorry? Well, I'm sorry, Andy, you didn't get it right, but Kobe, you did. It is C. It is B, and you did get it right. It's 477. Oh. All right, let's...
Oh, my goodness.
Good stuff. It'll get better. Okay, question 2. What is the name of the Academy Award winner who stars in The Rumour, which launched today on BritBox? I spoke to her last night. A, Rachel Shelby, B, Rachel Stanaway, or C, Rachel Shenton? What is the name of the Academy Award winner who stars in The Rumour, which launched today on BritBox? It is C, Rachel Shenton. All right, question 3. In what country did Donald Trump reboard Air Force One after being smuggled out of the NATO summit due to a threat from Iran? Was it A, London, B, Singapore, or C, France? In what country did Donald Trump reboard Air Force One after being smuggled out of the NATO summit due to the threat from Iran? It was A, London. Thanks for coming back. I wasn't scratching my bum. I was actually trying to adjust my earpiece. How many drinks have you had?
A, B, or C?
All right, question 4. How many days must a Victorian Premier serve to be eligible for a statue? A, 2,000, B, 3,000, C, 4,000. How many days must a Victorian Premier serve to be eligible for a statue? 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. The answer is B, 3,000. Question 5. What did ACT Opposition Leader Mark Parton admit texting during a budget estimates hearing? Was it A, F my life is boring, B, F my wife is boring, C, F my job is boring? What did ACT Opposition Leader Mark Parton admit texting during a budget estimates hearing? F my life is boring, F my wife is boring, F my job is boring. I'll tell you the answer right after this. Let's have a look at how he reacted when he was asked if he was texting a sex worker at the time.
There's a hell of a lot of private messages that are sent from a hell of a lot of people in the context of sitting days and hearings, and to be honest, I'm not sure that they're really anybody's business other than the sender and the receiver.
Are you also denying that you've never engaged with sex workers either here in the ACT or anywhere else?
I don't think that question's ever been asked, and I don't believe that question is in the public interest. We are talking about an anonymous complaint which is not being investigated, and as a consequence, I just refuse to entertain questions in the weeds about things that are clearly not in the public interest.
I have my look. I don't want to defame anyone, but I think I know what the answer is. But the answer to that, what did he admit texting during a budget estimates hearing? It was, of course, C. F. My job is boring. Okay, question 6. Which state announced this week it is planning to share driver's license and photo card images with a national database to better assist in facial recognition verification? Was it A, New South Wales, B, Victoria, or C, WA? Which state announced this week it is planning to share driver's license and photo card images with a national database to better assist in facial recognition verification? Was it New South Wales, Victoria, or WA? The answer, of course, New South Wales. Who's getting that right? I see a few A's popping up. Yes, New South Wales, New South Wales. This quiz will finish at 9:30 or when the London gains. Oh, it just went off the screen. Or when London gains sovereignty. Okay. Question 7. Which airline is set to charge passengers extra to store their luggage in the overhead compartment? A, Qantas, B, Jetstar, C, Virgin. Which airline is set to charge passengers extra to store their luggage in the overhead compartment? Qantas, Jetstar, or Virgin? Bloody Jetstar, that's the answer. B, bloody Jetstar. Question 8. What is the name that has been given to the Prime Minister's gaffe about the Japanese Prime Minister? A, Bushgate, B, Boobgate, or C, Melongate? If anyone gets this one wrong, I mean, we've just talked about it all night. What is the name that has been given to the Prime Minister's gaffe about the Japanese Prime Minister? It is, of course, C, Melongate. Someone put B. Daz, what are you doing this? All right. Question 9. Who was my special guest this time last week? Was it A, Christian O'Connell, B, Scott Cam, or C, Kyle Sandilands? Who was my special guest this time last week? So last Thursday, Christian O'Connell, Scott Cam, or Kyle Sandilands? It was, of course, Kyle Sandilands. And finally, question 10. We know that McKnight Tonight celebrated its 150th episode yesterday. When did episode 147 stream? You've got to quickly do your maths. A, Monday the 3rd of August. B, Wednesday the 5th of August. Or C, Thursday the 6th of August. We know that McKnight Tonight celebrated its 150th episode yesterday. When did episode 147 stream? Was it Monday the 3rd of August, Wednesday the 5th of August, or Thursday the 6th of August? It was Wednesday the 5th of August. Congratulations, everyone, how you did it. I see a Monday. No, so Wednesday the 5th of August. And according to Jasmine, the top 3, based on the chat, was Andy, Hoggy, and Zampakid. So Jasmine, in her very technical counting,
can we get a graphic made for that?
Sorry?
Can we get a graphic made for that?
Yeah, we'll work on the graphics. We might do up a whole graphic opener next week. Hey, that brings us to the end. Well done, everybody. Oh, cheers to that. It's been a great episode of McKnight Tonight. Amanda was telling me to get over it. I'm saying it's been a great episode of McKnight Tonight, if I do say so myself. Oh, we've got feedback. Oh, feedback. Sorry, I've lost it all. All right, let's have a look at the feedback coming through to McKnight Tonight. Andy says, that's what Australian TV is missing, alcohol. I think we just solved the mystery as to why Aussie TV sucks now. Well, that's why we have McKnight Tonight. Richie Boy says, strange that would grab a microphone considering they want their democratic voices heard. That said, I hope the protester was cuffed for theft at the very least. Yeah, I don't think they were. We've got this one from Airwaves Matter. When I'm preparing some jokes for tonight, only to learn that the segment is being changed tonight. Looking forward to the pub quiz. Sorry, Airwaves Matter. Clintos is the best of. Is there a lack of accessible housing, or are people being too picky with what type of house they want? You know, I think once upon a time that might have been true, but I think people are so desperate for houses now. I don't think that's the case. Andy says, I knew lots of kids when I was at school that lived in Housing Commission houses who may not have had a roof over their head if these homes weren't available. Absolutely. And when we were in Housing Commission in the late 70s and 80s and in the 90s, I think it was the 90s, Mum and Dad finally bought their own house. It was just other families all just trying to make a go of it. So I am supportive of this. CT Creating says, one of the main issues with social housing is the very slow maintenance. Many stories of work taking weeks to months to solve. Very good point. Very good point. Got this one from Daz. Australia should copy Singapore's HDB housing. It seems to work there and their people aren't stuck with a crippling mortgage. Very good point. Thank you, Daz. Got this one from Matthew. They sold like every second house trying to make everyone mix in. Yes, they did that all through Housing Commission. Where I live, they knocked everything down and just redid the whole suburb and built, I think every fourth house they made Housing Commission. Anthony says, hello from Newcastle. Happy Left-Handers Day. Everyone from a lefty myself. Left-handers represent. Represent indeed. Thank you, Anthony. Nice to have you on board. Own Your Crazy says, after 6 years living in a Housing Commission unit, my mother was able to apply for a means-tested loan from the Queensland HC to buy us a home while still being on the pension. This doesn't happen anymore. No, it doesn't. No. And that's what's stopping people being able to work their way up the ladder. And that's a big problem. Mum says, less public housing, more homeless people as they can't afford the private housing rental prices. And as that lady said, as Julie said, the government is having to basically give private companies money because they're doing rental assistance. It's crazy. Andy says, that's why I sponsored 2 kids via the Smith family. They truly do help the kids. I knew a few growing up who the Smith family helped a lot. Yeah, great. Good on you, Andy. Fantastic. Isn't that fascinating? You know, I'm going to tell you something, right? When you see public housing talked about in the News Corp presses and all that kind of stuff, they'll be really down on it because they think, people don't like handouts and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm seeing here is people with a whole range of different political views, because I sort of get to know your political views with the commentary we get. I see people who see the value in public housing or social housing or Housing Commission, whatever you want to call it. And I like that because I think we should be supportive of it. And that's where people in the inner city who think they know what people like us want to hear and what we think, they don't. They're just guessing. And that's why they punch down on people on the NDIS, in Housing Commission and things like that, because they think that's what they want. That's what they think we want them to do. And it's just not true. They don't represent Western Sydney or the suburbs of Melbourne at all. Own Your Crazy says, since the 80s, Australian government started outsourcing government-owned assets and services. Maybe that is the problem. Yeah, of course. Got this one from Daz Vid70. Can we have an intro to the quiz with Pete Smith? Oh, he might just do that for me, you know. I'll give him a call. Mick says, Rob should have 2 viewers at the end of the show for the pub quiz and the winner can get some merch. Who's buying the merch, Mick? I don't have money to buy merch. Andy says, no prizes, I'm out. Hang on, wasn't Andy one of the winners? All right, that brings us to the end of this edition of McKnight Tonight. Really do appreciate your company. Thanks for being with us. And did you like I'm trying to see, did you guys like the pub quiz? Let me know. I think the pub quiz got the thumbs up. What do you think, Amanda?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It's better than your jokes. Oh, your joke book, I mean. Just to clarify. All right, time to close.
Sorry, I'm just going to text a sex worker. If my wife is annoying.
That is boring.
All right, that brings us to the end of this edition. We'll see you Monday live as we stream from the garage on the Gold Coast. I'm Rob McKnight, and it's good night from McKnight. See you Monday.
Fun, insightful interviews from a washed-up producer with nothing to lose. McKnight tonight. It's good enough.